This documentary will discuss what the Long March was and why it was significant to the outcome of the Chinese Civil War. The Long March was, as the title suggests, an extremely long march. To be more precise, the Communist forces began the march in the Yangtze region in southeastern China in October 1934 and ended the march at the Yangtze Soviet in the northern China a year later. This, ladies and gentlemen, happens to be a distance of more than 3,000 miles, or 9,600 kilometers if you prefer that. Now, you might be wondering how on earth anyone can be that insane to walk such a distance. Well, there's only one simple answer to that. They didn't have much of a choice. The Communists had fought and lost a final battle with the GMD at Rujin in 1934. Mao decided that the only way of survival was to break through the GMD's encirclement at the Yangtze and set up another base. 90,000 communists managed to break through the encirclement, but the GMD forces would, of course, not let them go that easily. Therefore, great battles were fought along the way, and by the end of the march, 90% of the communists had been killed. But so what? What's so significant about the Long March in relation to the outcome of the Civil War? Well, besides of the death of quite a lot of communists. There are two major aspects to consider: the marking of Mao as the leader for the CCP and the impact of the peasants. Before the Long March, CCP's Red Army didn't have one single leader, but 28. They were all Chinese university students and operated under the name of the 28 Bolsheviks. They would probably have controlled CCP's military campaign for the rest of the war if it wasn't for one crucial mistake: crossing a river the wrong way. Due to the Yangtze River's strategic position on their march, the GMD troops were guarding it with their lives, and the 28 Bolsheviks led the troops right to them. The death of 50,000 soldiers made the CCP look for little more qualified group leaders, and Mao and his supporters grabbed the chance. This turned out to be a major win for the CCP, since he united the party and the army and was a great front figure to present to the peasants. The peasants were probably one of the most important factors for the outcome of the Civil War. The CCP had already before the march started to win over the poor Chinese farmers, but now was the time for them to shine. For them, the march was one big campaign of how much they wanted to get rid of the Japanese, how dedicated the soldiers were, and how stronger their army was compared to the GMD, something the peasants liked to hear. And since they covered such a great distance, they got to recruit and inspire millions. Historian James Sheridan argues that this was the main reason why the communists were able to win the Civil War. James Sheridan says, "The central factor was unquestionably the mobilization of vast numbers of Chinese, primarily peasants, into new political, social, economic, and military organizations, infused with a new purpose and a new spirit. The mobilization largely accounted for the communist victory." So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes that the Long March was of great importance to the outcome of the Chinese Civil War. The end.